Welcome, welcome, welcome back to Truth Quest. My name is Aaron Moriarity. I will be your host, and we're going to go on a quest for truth together. Yes, we are. Welcome, friends. We're on our, 71st show? Oh my goodness. How can it be? How can it be, friends? Here we are again. I'm going to share this out because that's how people know we're live. And if anyone's listening, please share it on out to your favorite social media platform because, I'm not on Twitter anymore. I'm only on Facebook and a couple other places that I hardly ever go to. So all the help that I can get, the better. And thank you very much. We are live. And let's see if we can get some of my Facebook friends to come on over. And, how about that lovely music? Let's give that a little spin here. There we go. All right, now we're cooking with Crisco. How do you like that? Let's see if anybody's in the chat yet. All right, 2 watching now. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Truth Quest. Thank you for stopping by. We're live. If you can like and share this on out, we would certainly appreciate it. Also, my show, the show I was doing with Andrew, that is going to be coming back, but sometime in the near future. And I don't have any dates on it, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. Also, we have some new guests on the lineup, getting verified as we speak. So lots of exciting people coming onto the show. And thank you again for watching and sharing. And I hope that you enjoy this content. We need disclosure, folks. The idea that elements of our military and or government and corporations are developing these fantastic technologies and keeping them secret from us and doing who knows what with them. It's very unsettling. I mean, our society would be more advanced if those were made public. And, I'm still hopeful that that can happen. Austin Morris, hello. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad that you're here. Say, I was on the intranet today, as I am a lot. And so there's this article making a claim about ancient settlements possible settlements on Mars, okay? So let me just show you what, and I don't know. What do you all think about this? Here it is. So, okay, this is from News and Life. All right, now, so there's these round mound-like structures. It could be volcanic, could be meteor impact type things. But then you got these little, I don't know if they're walls or trenches. Looks like little walls, I'm not sure, around it. Were these some sort of like livestock holding areas or something? Or is it just geological? Let me see, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, Five-sided. What in nature is five-sided? I mean, is there like maybe there's like a large mineral deposit here and it was bubbling up and it made this shape? I don't know. It doesn't, I mean, it looks like it could be artificially done, but it doesn't look that unnatural. I mean, you got this square structure here, I guess. So this right here is conspicuous. And if these indeed are walls, that is very strange. I don't know. What do you all think? Hi, Catherine. Jacob Waters. Having a good night. Having a good night. How are you doing? And thanks for chiming in, Catherine. So we got Austin, Catherine, and Jacob in the house here. We got 7 people watching. I'm going to go ahead and like it. I'm going to be number 6. Aha, I get the number 6. What number can you all get? Let's see how high we can pump that. Isn't that right? Episode number 71. So what do you guys think? Do you think that looks like human development, or does it look like or some kind of, Martian development, or does it look natural to you? So I don't know. Yeah, I'm 50-50 on it. It doesn't blatantly say people built this. These walls are kind of strange, but something could have popped up out of the crust and broke open. I don't know. Who knows? I'd like to know what all these other little dots are around here. These other rocks, or are those little? What are those little things? Oh, probably little craters like here, like heavily cratered area. Now, I thought Mars had a pretty sandy surface, and craters didn't last very long. Apparently, this area is different. If it is even Mars, I mean, you look at these articles that come out, who knows? They might be making it all up. You never know. Yeah, it's hard to say anything from the image, right, Austin? I agree. Yeah. There was another one too. Another picture, let me show you, that that I think looks even less like something that that a being did. This just looks like some big rock is either weathered away, or like a meteorite that fell and weathered away. I don't know. Some curious stones sticking up over here. I don't know what the scale is for any of this. It's sort of interesting. The thing that I always wondered is, why doesn't the rover go back to some of these things and take a closer look, right? They're up there. They're going years beyond their stated, life expectancy. They're 3-4 years past what they were supposed to do. Why don't they just go back, backtrack, or loop around and, and cross where an anomaly was seen, and actually, solve a mystery? Wouldn't that be something if NASA could solve a mystery for once? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Hey, Jerry. Yeah, it's hard to say what any of this stuff is, It just looks like a bunch of rocks. Who knows what all this is? That's why we need the chronovisor to see what the stuff was at one time, right? Monuments on Mars, Monuments of Mars. Yeah, that was a good read. Yeah, very interesting. You know, there's another video. There's a video, friends, out, and it's a controversial video. It's been out for years. And I ran into a picture, a blown up picture from that footage. And it's in some outdoor kind of a cabana bar area. It looks like it might be in Mexico or South America. And there's a UFO that comes up over the water and everyone's looking at it. And it comes over and all of a sudden there's this being standing in this part of the yard there. And this man walks up to it. Okay, I'll just show you the picture too. It's freaky. You might have seen it. I'll have to hunt that video down. But this image is from it. And this really tells you what you need to know, I think, about what the... And I always wondered, is this real? It looks pretty real. So this is a still from that video of this alien. Supposedly he touches the forehead of this man. And the man, you know, stands up hypnotically, turns around, walks over and makes a phone call. And everyone is like not paying attention to this little guy over here, like they can't see him or something. Now, I don't know, is this CGI? I don't know. This looks pretty real. Now, if you watch the video, it's very strange the way this character moves. It's yeah. Has anybody in the chat seen this footage? You know, I would hunt the video down and show it, but when I show videos on here through Zoom, it's really choppy. So I advise you to look it up yourself. You could probably find it. Oh, Omni Magazine had those in full color. I loved Omni Magazine. Hi, Mud Rabbit. Do you think that was a... the coloration is suspect for you? The coloration? So, you mean of the aliens' skin? The coloration of it? Now, coloration defects. Hi, Mud Rabbit. So what are the coloration defects that you see here? I'm curious. Okay, Austin, you saw it about a year ago. It's been out for quite a few years. I've seen it years ago. It's always been a very intriguing video to me. I know a lot of people have supposedly debunked it, but you know, I don't know. Everybody says things are debunked, but you got some people really trying very hard to cover this stuff up. So, you know, they're going to say everything's debunked. That's the easiest thing to do. Oh, the Hoagland picture's an Omni. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say I didn't see this in Omni, but they should have. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe it's some, you know, film students, you know, project. Could be. But, you know, all the people were like they were noticing the UFO and kind of getting scared of it. It's getting kind of close. So I don't know how they would fake that. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I wonder what the phone call was for, right? Probably had to call his wife. I'm staying late again. The aliens are back. I get a download. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, that's always intrigued me, this case. It's very, very interesting. Yeah. So they put a round red oval around this, and then they add a big red arrow, as if you wouldn't know to look where the. This is how people need to be. This is probably what Joe Biden's, format looks like: big arrows and circles around things. Something he can notice, Wow, I can't believe what a thing that whole thing is. Is that in the way? Is that in the way in there? Let's see. Yeah, it is in the way. Okay, I took it out of the way. Sorry about that. Didn't notice the color thing was in the screen there. Oh, Austin. Yeah, the little guy is sort of appears and disappears. I never understood why somebody just happened to have their camera pointed in the right direction at the right time. True. That is a question, Why were they filming it? Of course, I would be filming it if it was happening. But I also would be saying, oh my God, I can't believe that. I can't believe that UFO. Oh my God, an alien. Wow, wow, look at this, look at this. I would be saying that. Yeah, I've heard other accounts where the aliens will touch them on the forehead or in the back of the head, and then they'll just either lose consciousness or get a message. Yes, I do think that they do telepathically, but I think there is something about they either have some kind of instrument that they touch you with, or I'm not sure. And nobody's an expert on these guys. They're pretty elusive, All we have is some sketchy pictures, and nobody knows if they're even real. Doesn't feel real to you? Yeah. I've gone back and forth on this one. At first I thought, oh wow, this is cool. And I'm like, oh, it looks kind of cheesy. But then I went, well, but so this is one of those. I give it a 50-50. Okay, you study body language, but now remember, these are aliens with completely different anatomy. And I've heard people who've seen them running or going fast. They say they kind of like hop, and they supernaturally go further than most animals would. I mean, they're very unnatural in the way they move. Very alien, I guess, in the way that they move. And that's what Stan Romanek said when he saw that alien below the window, the famous one that he filmed. And he said it kind of freaked him out. It freaked him out the way it was moving. It wasn't moving like anything he'd ever seen. It looks like the ones that are filmed in the group of 3 or 4 of them that's filmed in the Skinny Bob video. $50-50, yeah. Sometimes that's all you get. Hello, Abby. Good evening. Sent via Dark Brain. Oh, good. Glad to have you aboard. Yeah, we're talking about aliens and cool stuff like that. So we don't know if this is a real alien or not, right? There's just no way to tell. It's something that's out there. And I encourage you to look up the video and take a look at it and see what you think. I want to, show you something else here, friends. And I showed this a couple other times, but I want to show it to you again. It's one of my inventions, one of my ideas, I should say. And it's something that could possibly save a lot of lives. When a motorcycle is on the road, a lot of times there's accidents between cars and motorcycles. And a lot of times it's because the car can't see the motorcycle because it's so small. So I had the idea but a motorcycle could be projecting a holographic image around itself so that it appears to be a car or a big bike or a truck or something bigger, so that it would be, you could make it more solid looking than this. I just did it this way so you could kind of see the bike inside and get the idea that, wow, yeah, now this would be more noticeable than just this. And think of it as looking more solid and less ghostly. I just had it this way so you could see through it. But we have the technology, and I think it would save a lot of lives. It would be kind of fun too, kind of bringing the digital world to the highway. But I just think it would save lives. What do you all think of that? That would be scary for the cyclists that drive between the lanes at the lights. Oh yeah. So you'd see a big car coming at you and you'd squeeze by. Yeah. I never thought of that. Good point. Good point. Well, I still think it might have some merit, but that is an interesting point you make there. Oh, Jerry, you like that idea? Your cousin? Dr. Brain? Wow. Yeah. Hologram tech would really let you create fake alien videos. Yeah. That's why, the newer videos, and that's an older video, that picture we just looked at. That's from a much older video. So, I tend to put more stock in the older stuff because, like you said, nowadays they could pretty much do anything, right? Right? Yeah. How do you like that? How do you like that, friends? Well, there you go. So that's my concept, one of my concepts. I haven't made a prototype of it, but that's interesting because when they weave in and out, they go between cars. If it looks like a big car's coming, the people looking in the rearview mirror is going to freak out, like they're going to get smashed. Yeah, exactly. Replica, but a large. Yeah, that would be cool too, like a giant bike. Yeah, something, or just a bike with neon lights around it, like making it have some kind of barrier around it, some kind of light barrier, so that you can see it. Yeah, the idea is just to make it some way to make it so you can see the bike easier, make it bigger, make it visually bigger. I suppose you could build that into like a smart windshield of a car to be able to see when it sees a bike, it could automatically like put like a round thing around it, like it's tracking it. That would help you see it better. But not every car is going to have that new feature. Hit the like button. Yeah, thanks, Mud Rabbit. We got 12 watching now, 14 likes. So, well, that's doing pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, but I don't think, I have thought about this a little bit, and for that holographic bike thing, I don't think you'd want to have the ability or allow the ability for it to change while you're driving, because if you change from a giant motorcycle to Lamborghini to a semi while you're driving, that might distract people. You know, don't you think? I would think. All righty then. I hope you're all having a great, great, grand old time. Okay, that's interesting, Austin. You know what I heard the other day? This is interesting. So, you know, voice messaging, the earliest record of voice messaging, or, you know, remote voice messaging and sending messages remotely, was in India over 1,000 years ago. They used parrots. They'd tell parrots secret messages, and the parrot would fly to the person who was to hear that message. So all this new tech, they had it. They just used parrots. How do you like that? Well, Dark Brain, thank you for the kind words about me. Yeah, I call into Red Pill, you know, not every time, but you know, if something something I need to talk about the guest he's having or subject matter, I call in. He's a great guy. I really like Red Pill. Great show, great news guy. I think you know, CBS should hire him, you know, and just let him have full reign, or someplace like that. Oh, you nearly ran over a motorcycle cop? Didn't see him? He pulled you over? No ticket though. That's good. Wow. Yeah. Anything we can do to make these cyclists, the motorcyclists and bicyclers safer. You know, maybe for bicycles too, you know, some kind of light halo that goes around the bike. Something to make it more visible. I saw, when I was a teenager, I saw a tragic accident, like a little moped type scooter with a couple teenagers on it. Got wiped out by a station wagon, and it was horrific. Oh my God. It was terrible. So anything we can do to make these cyclists, scooters, bicyclers, make them, you know, safer and make them more visible somehow. So let's put our thinking caps on, and if we all think together, we can make, you know, progress here. You have too many people on scooters down here, and they don't follow traffic rules, Mud Rabbit. Well, I think when you're on a scooter, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You're on a scooter, right? That's probably why they don't do that. It's a freeing thing. Hey, I'm scooting. So where are the scooters? Maybe you don't want to give away your Mud Rabbit identity about where you are, but that's, yeah, that was horrible. So, you know, anything we can do to help make people on the roads safer. And I really, I feel bad for motorcyclists because they're harder to see. So it's a problem. I need a cattle prod like they used to put on trains. Yeah, you know, it's 2021 and we still have large mammals running in front of cars. Is this really the future? I mean, didn't we invent the fence like thousands of years ago? Where's the fence? You know? I don't know, man. I've hit a lot of deer and I feel very bad about it. You know, they got those nature bridges. I think that's a wonderful thing. But we need more of them. I don't think you could build enough of them. They just start, every time they build one normal bridge, they should build 2 nature bridges. They should pass a law like that. I know it would be more expensive, of course, right? But, oh well, so swell. That's what I say. Oh well, so swell. I'm going to put a link to the Zoom if anyone wants to call in. And flashing light in the front and back, yeah. Sometimes those batteries run out though, you know. That's why, you know, why isn't all of the electric things on a bike generator run? Because running the wheels creates electricity, right? That's right. That's right. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put this also in the chat. This is my new merch shop where you can get a Skinny Bob shirt or a hoodie or something of pictures of an actual alien verified by Bernie Mendez. Yes, we've infringed on a wildlife's paths of travel. Yes, we certainly have. Oh, they should build tunnels and bridges. You know, the nature bridges are wonderful, you know. Nature bridges are fantastic, actually. Yeah. That's right. Okay, let me check over here for a second. Let me just check something here. You digging that wild music in the background, folks? So every bridge they build, they got to build 2 nature bridges, or a nature bridge and a nature tunnel. Because I know in England they have tunnels for turtles and hedgehogs. You got to save the little hedgehogs. They're so cute. But yeah, we have to look up for our little friends. You know, I still think, you know, it's 2021. Why are large mammals still running in front of cars? It's 2021. Come on now. Can't they put something in their food that makes them smaller, or build bridges? Yeah, or some, or, you know, genetically make them so they have reflectors on their ears or something? I don't know. No, we wouldn't want to do that. I want to mess with nature. Oh, I hear my phone. Hold on one second. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Oh, I had to run to get my phone. Folks, we have a caller. Oh, we also have Austin. You know what? You want me to let Austin in too?
Sure.
Oh, okay. That'll be fun.
The more the merrier.
The more the merrier. Welcome, Maxwell Smart. Now, usually I have my phone right here, but this time it was in the other room. I had to run and get it. Probably Captain Kirk. Okay.
Good crowd.
Good crowd. Where is he? He's gone.
Try to call in or something or what?
Yeah, he was waiting in the queue, and I thought I hit the button to let him in. So Austin, if you call back in, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Call back in. Anyway, so what's up? What's up, Max?
Oh, not a lot. I had a late supper, so I was relaxing for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not so relaxed I'm going to fall asleep or something. But
Right.
that does happen once in a while.
Yes. So,
So
what's new in your world? What have you noticed, or what are you keeping your eye on these days?
keeping my eye on, of course, current events and things like that. Of course, I'm looking to see if there are anything happening in China, of course. I don't know if anybody's heard of anything going on there.
Well, I heard that China is in talks with the Taliban about taking over that Air Force base at Bagram in Afghanistan. You hear that?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think much good will come out of it.
For China. Good for China.
Oh, yeah, for China, of course. But remember, so a lot of countries have had, a lot of problems in Afghanistan.
Yep. Yeah.
They might find it's a lot harder to deal with the Taliban than they think.
That could be. Yeah. Yeah. I saw a meme about some Taliban Afghanis coming here, and you'll never know where they'll be heading. Beheading? Where they'll be heading? Yeah. Very scary.
What happened to Austin?
I don't know. He was in the queue, like I said, and I thought I clicked to put him in. I might have accidentally hit delete, but I don't think that I did. But for some reason, he's not there anymore. I don't. Well, I don't see him. Let's see. I'm scrolling back. No, I don't know what happened. I hope he's okay.
Well, maybe something happened to his phone or computer or whatever he's using.
Yeah. And I'm sorry if I'm not keeping up the chat. It's hard for me to do everything and pay attention to everything. Oh, yes, Mr. Dennison, I did get your memes. I did for sure get your memes. Maybe we could go look at those. Let me see. Where are they? Okay. They have to be back here. Tony Dennison. Okay. All right. Here's one. Okay, here's another one. I'm just going to show a couple of these. He's got a lot of them here. Let's see. All right. Okay, let's get a couple of them there. And then we have to open them up. There's a little process we have to go through here, folks. Yeah. And that one. Oops. And this one. Okay. All right, now we're ready. We're ready to do it now. All righty then. So what else is going on, buddy?
Let's see. Well, I've been trying to prepare some information for maybe for a future show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm trying to prepare the information on how to explain to people how these monatomic elements work and how they become transdimensional. And I've got part of it prepared. It's not complete yet, so.
Okay. Sounds
I
interesting.
still have a couple things. It takes a little time to sit and think about how to best explain some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
it's going to, just to let you know, someone's going to need a periodic table.
Yeah.
So I can explain that to people eventually.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out how to best kind of practicing it, trying to figure out how to best explain certain things that are somewhat difficult to explain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you a lot of the things that you talk about, sometimes I have a little bit of trouble wrapping my head around it because you're so technical,
Right. It's difficult, and I try. A lot of times those are off the cuff, so
Mm-hmm.
that can be good and that can be bad. Obviously, I'd like people to understand, and if I don't prepare, sometimes it's hard to communicate that in a way that is understandable.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to practice a little bit more and see if I can't find better ways to explain things,
Mm-hmm.
so that when I get into it, it'll have the most value for people.
Right. You get that elevator, the elevator pitch, right?
Right. Well, I want people to enjoy things that I talk about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or at least get something out of it.
Sure.
So some of the things that are more difficult, I've got to actually sit and think about how would I explain this to people?
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty difficult at times.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the concepts are, a little out there.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out how do you convey that the best way.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And how do you do it in a way that's also not as long?
Well, you do a pretty good job of explaining things like that. I think analogies help too,
Yeah.
But
Obviously I don't want to take a thing that takes up the whole show.
That's okay. That's what
enough, maybe, but
that's what it's here for.
Yeah, well,
for everybody to pitch in and share.
I want to add that. I want to add value to your show. Add something that really brings meaning to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the things you've been discussing tonight?
There's something out there on the intranet about possible ancient settlements on Mars, but we were looking at that, and Austin was sort of agreeing with me that it could just be geological. Oh, Jerry, your mom is 83 yesterday. You talked for an hour tonight. Well, happy birthday to your mother. Wow. Congratulations. Happy birthday. Anyway.
Is Austin disappeared? Is he still gone?
Well, it's hard for me to keep track of the chat here.
Okay.
Well,
you could ask
I don't see him in there. Yeah, if Austin wants to call back, he can. If anyone wants to.
Maybe he's taking a bathroom break or something.
Oh, okay. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. Okay, I'm going to also put some of this other stuff into the chat as well. Other information. See if that's going to fit in there. Nope, that's not going to all fit. So,
has there been any news of anything going on inside China?
No, I haven't heard. Have you?
No, I haven't. I've been watching for signs that something's going on, or I haven't seen anything yet. But then again, it's not exactly like nowadays it's easy to get that information
Mm-hmm.
since we have a media that doesn't really want us to know certain things.
Right. I don't watch the media for personally. But what do you watch when you watch the media? What channels do you watch?
Well, I don't watch anything for any great length of time.
That's pretty smart.
You know,
Yeah.
every once in a while I look and see what someone's saying, and of course, you know that something strange is going on when they were attacking, you know, and they're attacking Joe, right?
Oh, okay. Right.
You're like saying, so these people who have essentially lied to us all along are suddenly attacking their golden child, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you're saying, okay, this must be part of their plan.
Yeah.
Because there's no rational reason why they would suddenly do that.
Mm-hmm. Austin piped up. He said, I would have to use my telephone to speak to you. My desktop does not have a microphone that I'm aware of. Yeah, that's fine. You can go ahead and call in on that number on your phone to Zoom. I think that would work. Oh, and let me check and see if that passcode is, if there's a different passcode. No, that's the same passcode. So,
oh, was he trying to get on through the computer or something?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna post it. I think Dark Brain already did post it, but I posted it again too. We'll see if we can get him in here.
I'll have to admit that some of those things are challenging to me, you know, things like Zoom and whatever. It's like,
me too. Yeah, it's
you need a technical person that's skilled with computers. Now, I can do a lot of great things with computers. A lot of things other people can't do, but
yeah,
there are things that I have no clue about.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, I always, if we were like zapped into the past and we were describing the future, oh yeah, in the future we have computers and we can do all these things. And they'd say, okay, build me one. And you're like, yeah.
I actually did that. I built my first computer, I don't know, it's been about 10 years ago.
Oh yeah? Cool.
And the scariest part was trying to get it to start for the first time.
Yeah.
Because you don't even think about it. You've got to tell it how to find the CD ROM so that they can then find the software you have on the CD-ROM.
Mm-hmm.
And that was quite challenging. It's like a little scary at first.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something I used to do a lot of things with, learn to hide things on the hard drive.
Yeah.
Find ways to hide part of the hard drive, for example.
Yeah.
Or store information.
Mm-hmm.
And recently I had a memory of something like that I did that. And I don't know what I would have stored on the hard drive and why I would suddenly remember it.
Wow.
So that's got me curious as to, did something happen where I lost some of my memory and did this? If so, what gems are out there, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes that happens to me too. All of a sudden I'll remember like my locker combination from 7th grade.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I would have remembered it when I needed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have dreams once in a while where I'm at a, I don't know what it means, but where you're at your locker and you can't figure out how to get in.
Yeah. Abby's asking if I'm a rockabilly fan. Yes, I'm a rockabilly fan. I also do Elvis shows, Abby. But yes, I'm a big Eddie Cochran fan. Nobody does rockin' like Eddie Cochran. I love Gene Vincent. I got Gene Vincent and his Blue Caps in my CD player in the car right now from 1957. So yeah, I'm into rockabilly for sure. Why isn't everybody? It's the
So
only.
have you heard it all from Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew called today. In fact, yeah. Yes, I'm a big
Is he
rockabilly.
gonna come?
Go ahead.
Is he gonna come on your channel sometime?
Oh yeah. The show's going to make a big comeback, but he's doing some things that will make it better, and
Okay.
so it's going to be good, very good.
Good. Cool. So have you ever thought what would you do if you were a time traveler?
I would go back and watch some rockabilly. You know, I would go back and I'm going to show a picture of me and my dad. I just found this. I sent it to my mom. I don't think she'd ever seen it. And he went to a Gene Vincent concert back in the 50s. And I would like to go see Eddie Cochran and Gene Vincent and those guys. But yeah, here's me and my dad. This was back in the big 80s, early 80s, maybe late 70s, something like that. But yeah, a lot of
the days of the what, bell bottoms?
paneling. Well, can't really see our pants in this, but a lot of paneling. But yeah, it was fun. I grew up in a very cool area, Mound, Minnesota, birthplace of Tonka toys. But yeah, my dad saw Gene Vincent when he had both of his legs were in casts, because he always had one leg in a cast, but he jumped off the stage at one of the concerts. He broke his other leg. So when my dad saw him in Little Falls, Minnesota, back in the 50s, they had to wheel him out there and prop him up and kind of lock him into place. He stood up and played guitar all night long on two broken legs. So yeah, that's rock and roll.
Hey, did I ever tell you about the time that I saw ball lightning?
No, explain that.
Let's see, I'm gonna guess it was roughly 1978, maybe.
Okay.
And thereabouts, and I was in the upstairs bedroom of the house, and it was during the mid-afternoon, but it was overcast, and so I didn't have a screen in my window, so I only had the window up about 4 inches.
Okay.
And I'm sitting up in bed. I've got a black and white television on. It's across the room in the corner. It's on, and the window is to my right, so only about a foot away from the bed. And so I was sitting there, and all of a sudden this blue light, must have been 3 or 4 inches in diameter. The crack in the window was barely big enough for this thing to come through the window, but it came in, and it's like it like came in very fast. Well, not super fast, like a lightning bolt. It just, but it moved in, and it's like slowed down, like it was looking at me, and then it zoomed on to the TV, and of course hit the black and white TV, and the TV went, and
wow.
Initially it knocked out the TV, and I went over and turned off the TV. I didn't know if it was going to burn up or something, or because it definitely make a kerpow when it hit the TV.
Wow.
And later I turned the TV on, and it worked a little bit. It definitely had been affected.
It didn't turn color? Did it turn color after that? Did it play color after that, or was it black and white?
No, it's still black and white.
Still black and white.
It was the ball of lightning was blue, and it was just like a blue ball, 3 to 4 inches in diameter, and the thing that freaked me out the most was the fact that it slowed down, and it almost had the sensation that it was looking at me before it zoomed over to the TV.
Wow.
And I never had anything like that happen to me ever.
Wow.
I was both amazed and a little bit afraid of why the thing was slowed down like it was going to come toward me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's freaky. That is
so I was a ham radio operator.
Really?
So I was worried that thing would hit my ham set.
Were you a ham too? Were you also a ham too when you were doing it?
No. But I have an old system.
Okay.
They were pretty. I had too much power though on my ham radio.
Yeah.
Limited like to 5 watts of power, and I had 75 watts.
Okay.
So when I transmitted, the first time I transmitted, I think somebody, at least 2,000 miles away, got my first signal.
Wow. 2,000 miles. Wow.
Yeah,
so
it was a long way.
That's a ham.
Of course, I had to use Morse code. So.
Okay.
But there's a lot of weird stuff that I heard what they called the over the horizon radar that they thought it was. That nobody knew what it was. It was scanned across all the frequencies, and people were saying it was something the Russians were doing, but nobody really knew what it was. And you could pick up these Voice of America transmissions, and you can pick up transmissions from around the world that weren't, ham channels.
I don't have a ham radio, but I tried making a turkey radio, but didn't quite work so good.
Or a turducken.
Yeah. I see there's something going on in the chat. Talking about, we're trying to keep it real comfy in the chat here. We don't want to get the channel taken down by, this is not Rumble. I have a Rumble account too. I'll be broadcasting on there soon, someday, but not yet. Someday soon. Then we can talk about all kinds of stuff like that. But we're trying to keep it comfy and trying to be kind of cool. I want to show you something really quick here, friends. Where is it? Here it is. This is one of the little sketches I did of one of the children's book I'm working on. Okay, Awesome Possum Goes to School. So he's getting dressed there. His tail's putting on his sock, and he's putting on his shirt. So that's one of the things I'm working on. A little.
Cool.
And let me check the chat here. Ham ops are smarter than average people. Yeah, I would say so. Color Fab, welcome, Color Fab. Fabulous to see you. I second that, dark brain. Honky Tonk, yeah, Abby likes Honky Tonk too. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Hey, Cassandra, good to see you here. We're all here. Look at this. Okay, that message was deleted. Okay, thank you, Dark Brain. Yeah, you can think things, but when you say them over a platform that they watch stuff like that, and that's I think that's how Red Pill got bumped by someone saying something in the chat, and he was so. Oh, thank you, Kelly George. Oh, Nicoletta Trumpy.
That's why you need some good moderators.
Yes, I have the best moderators. Nicoletta Trumpy Bear, thank you for the sticker. It looks like a dancing lemon. Oh, look at that. That's cute. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Color Fab. 21st Century Pogo. Yeah, his name is the Awesome Possum. And I'm working on the second book. That's for the second book.
I want to staring a possum in the face once.
Oh, yeah?
Hey.
A real one.
Yeah, I had a trailer in the past, and one time I heard some noise, and it was like, I don't know, one morning, and I heard some noise behind me, and then the window's normally behind me at that time, and I said, what's that noise? And I turned around, and there's a possum at the head of my bed.
At the head of your bed?
A big possum. Yeah, I don't know how I have any idea how the possum could possibly get in there.
Wow.
But it was sitting at, literally about a foot from me. And it was just looking at me, and it's huge.
Wow.
And I'm like, buddy, you don't belong here. And so we kind of looked at each other, and he or she, I don't know if it might have been a she, mighty big, turned around and left. And it seemed to go somehow via the bed. Now, the only thing I can figure, this is an old water bed, and then maybe there was a hollowed out space underneath that it ate through the floor or something. I don't know. I never did find out.
Wow. Wow.
I tried and tried, to figure out what was going on.
Wow. Interesting. We got some more. Go ahead. Finish that thought.
So that was a possum encounter I had.
So right next to your bed, you were in a house or you were camping?
It was in a trailer.
In a trailer, okay.
The trailers are notorious, if people haven't figured this out, notorious for having all kinds of spaces where critters can get in.
Yes.
I once was. This is the same trailer I had. There's a next door neighbor that lived in the trailer. I didn't talk to her very often, but we're friendly. But one time she came over knocking on my door in a panic. Says, "You gotta help me! I said, "What's going on?" I said, "My cat's going crazy! And I'm like, well, what do you think's going on? I says, "I don't know. Must be something in the trailer." So I went over there and closed up. Went over there. She's scared to walk around because she doesn't know what the cat's responding to. And she says, "Well, where did the cat first start freaking out?" I says, "Well, the cat was back here in the bedroom, and it was uncomfortable, and then it ran to the living room, and it won't leave the living room." I said, "Okay, well, I'll go right back there." I said, "Well, where did you think you saw this?" Well, she bent over and was looking in the closet, and all of a sudden I saw something. I said, "Don't move."
Uh-oh.
Says, "What?" She says, "What?" I said, "Don't move, just slowly back away from the closet." And she did that, and I says, "What?" And she still didn't see it. There's a gigantic raccoon hanging onto the wall of the closet, about a foot from her head, just motionless, right?
Okay.
It's kind of froze there.
Wow.
And I said, "How did that thing get in here?"
They got hands. They have hands.
There had to be a big hole somewhere. So we're looking. I said, "Well, these things are notorious. Most trailers that I've ever seen, one of the places, the worst, is right around the shower."
Okay. Sure.
And they're terribly built. And sure enough, right behind, just to the edge of the shower, there was a gap big enough that raccoon could come in.
Wow. Well,
and so the hard part was getting the raccoon to go back there.
Well, he'll go back when he'll go back when he needs to take a shower.
She just got a broom and she went screwing the raccoon, and it went straight to the hole it came in.
Okay.
So she had to secure it.
All right. We have some more super chats here I have to acknowledge. So Nicoletta Trumpy Bear, thank you for the hippos, those cute little hippos. They keep popping up there. Rat X popped up and is contributing to the cause here. Thank you so much, my friend Rat X. And Nicoletta Trumpy Bear. He says 1972 Tower 1 built. LOD Airport. Yeah, I'm not going to say some of these words. I don't want to get the channel busted.
Right.
Blacks. Yeah. Netanyahu was. Yeah. Gee, I don't know if I could really say all that stuff on there. Anyone who wants to read it, it's in there in the chat. But yeah, check out RadX's channel because he has found some amazingly significant correlations between 1972 and 2020. It's absolutely amazing. So check him out. It's fabulous. And thank you again, Trumpy Bear, for another thumbs up. She gave me a thumbs up. Thank you so much. And not to be outdone by herself, another one from Nicoletta Trumpy Bear. It's let me scroll back up here. It's a little character, look, a little cat writing number 1. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Helps to keep the lights on. And David Zubelik, yes. He's a good guy. Very much so.
I once had the wild animal attack.
Yeah, you had an
animal attack.
Yeah?
It's my wild animal story, other than the awesome. Well, I used to be really big into, not so much anymore, but I used to be big backpacking.
Okay.
And so one time a group of us went up to the Great Smoky Mountains and we're backpacking. Well, it's a beautiful day when we're there. It's like 75, 80 degrees. Mm-hmm. And of course, you have to go get permission before you can stay at these campsites.
Uh-huh.
They tell you, you're not allowed to have pork. It's against the law to have pork in the Smoky Mountains, especially bacon.
Okay.
Because it attracts all the bears, and then they have to send rangers out to rescue you.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had to make, so you understand if you catch you with pork, you're going to get heavily fined.
Mm-hmm.
We understand.
Just to let you know, Max, I let somebody in the chat. I'm not sure if it's Austin or not. Is that you, Austin?
Yes, I'm hearing you now on my phone. I had trouble getting connected there. My system, I didn't know how to do a Zoom on my my home console, so I've got my phone in hand. I was trying to get in contact. I just had a week ago. You had discussed on here about Apollo 20.
Sure.
And that's a story I just happened to. I love space stories.
Mm-hmm.
And that just resonates with me. So I had comments on that, and that's just the reason why I wanted to get in.
What did you want to say about it?
Well, the whole subject matter of the secret space program,
mm-hmm.
it correlates. It keys in with Apollo 20,
mm-hmm.
Because that's supposed to be a secret mission to the moon. And of course, skeptics are not going to listen to this. They have lots and lots. There are lots of good reasons to think it didn't happen, but there are reasons to think maybe it did.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to kind of comment on that. Some things that I know about this that weren't mentioned when you were talking about it, which I could bring up here. A few things I was recalling that I've read that relate to secret space programs. Some years ago, not too long ago, sometime maybe, 2012, 2013, there was a special on Nova, the PBS series Nova, the science series,
mm-hmm.
about the secret spies in space.
Okay.
And it had a video overview of this project, this Department of Defense multi-billion-dollar project of the mid-1960s called MOL. That stood for Manned Orbiting Laboratory. MOL was a military extension of NASA's Project Gemini. Project Gemini was a program where they had 10 space flights, the period 1965 through 66, of a two-man vehicle that orbited the Earth. And it was supposed to be the rehearsal for Project Apollo or the training for Project Apollo was how it was sold to the public. But if you look at the actual facts, Gemini and Apollo were really parallel programs, because Apollo started launching right after Gemini ended, immediately, almost. Well, about 1 year gap between the two. And so the Apollo technology really was developed in parallel. The Gemini technology was this two-seater spacecraft that was a modular design from McDonnell Douglas, derived from the Project Mercury vehicle. It was the original one-seat U.S. spacecraft. Well, this Nova special on PBS, there had been this amazing discovery, which was I didn't get in newspapers. I never saw it in a newspaper. It was on this TV show, and I've read about it, confirmed since then from other sources. Mm-hmm. Recently, and after 2000, a number of old buildings at Cape Canaveral were demolished, were cleared away, and that there were preservationists who were offended by this, who thought that more of the old stuff should be preserved there as historical monuments. But NASA was anxious to just clear out some old facilities they didn't use anymore, and they were under budget constraints, so on and so forth. So this old building that was one of the concrete block houses that was a control center back in the days of Redstone rockets back in the 50s.
Okay.
This building had been closed and locked for a long, long time. And this old concrete block house, this old concrete pillbox-like structure. And they opened the door because it's one of these things that they're thinking about just demolishing, and they didn't have a record of what it had been used for since Redstone had ended. Mm-hmm. So it's a mystery. And they open the door for the first time in years and years with a skeleton key, and they look in, and it's full of junk. It had been used just as a storeroom, so it's full of junk. So the NASA people go in here to clear the junk out. And it's just stuff that could be sold for salvage value. It's nothing valuable, nothing really important. But they find two mysterious metal boxes in this building. The boxes are like little small miniature coffins almost. They're boxes, but they're metal, that are hermetically sealed boxes. And they have the logo of a company. It's from Massachusetts, the company that was the contractor that built the spacesuits for Project Gemini.
Okay.
And it's identical to the storage boxes that are used to transport the spacesuits. So they open these boxes, this hadn't been opened for like decades, and there are spacesuits in the boxes, 2 boxes of spacesuits.
Cool.
Well, that's a very valuable thing to just leave abandoned in a storeroom.
Sure.
Let's see, the company was David Clark Industries of, I think it's Worcester, Massachusetts. Okay. David Clark Industries had built the spacesuits for Project Gemini back in the 60s. And these were, when taken out of their boxes, 2 Project Gemini spacesuits.
Okay.
The spacesuits, though, if you remember any of the pictures from back in the days of Gemini, the spacesuits of Gemini were always this bright, brilliant white color. Uh-huh. This beautiful white that was a reflective white that's heat-resistant fabric. Mm-hmm. You can remember these pictures from back in those days.
I'm looking for
These spacesuits in these 2 mystery boxes were blue-colored, and nobody there had ever seen a blue spacesuit.
Okay.
And these blue spacesuits had little name tags on them. One of them had the name tag that said lawyer. The other one had a name tag that said 007.
Oh, wow.
So the lawyer spacesuit, back in the days of the MOL, the Manned Orbiting Laboratory, the secret Department of Defense project that was the follow-on to Project Gemini, mm-hmm. The one of the astronauts trained for that was a man named Richard Lawyer, who at that time was a U.S. Navy commander. I think he later rose in rank to be an admiral, but he had been an astronaut for MOL, mid-60s, and this was his spacesuit.
Wow.
And it was a Gemini-type spacesuit, but blue-colored, had his name on it. when the MOL project had been ended because of congressionally mandated budget cuts, everything went to a scrap heap or junk pile or stored away where no one would see it again. And this spacesuit had been stored away, and it was Richard Lawyer's spacesuit.
Wow.
And the Gemini spacesuits had to be individually crafted to fit the proportions of the wearer's body. They're not generic spacesuits that you can interchange. So it was Richard Lawyer's spacesuit made to his body measurements back in the mid-'60s when he had been an astronaut. Okay, so that solves the mystery of Richard Lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay, now the other spacesuit, nobody's name is on it. It's just got 007. Well, of course, conventional news media, they say that, well, it's just a joke. You know, they just put that tag on as a gag because the MOL mission was a manned spy satellite. So, you know, the guy's a spy, so you have this name tag that says 007. Okay, but remember what I said? The suit has to be made, a Gemini-type spacesuit is made to the wearer's body measurements.
Sure.
It's individualized to that wearer, and nobody else can wear it. It can't be interchanged to some other astronaut.
Right.
My working hypothesis on that is the other guy. See, in the Soviet Union, there was a program called Salyut that was their counterpart to MOL. When they sent up people for Salyut, there'd be a pilot cosmonaut to pilot the spaceship, and then there'd be a second guy who was an engineer cosmonaut who'd take care of all the systems of the little space station. So my working hypothesis here is that 007 was not one of the astronauts that we've been told about. I think that the spy satellite systems were being administered and being run by the National Reconnaissance Office in Washington. That particular government agency at that time in history was totally secret. Totally. You never heard of it in those days.
Sure, sure.
Only much later did it come out that agency even existed. Wow. They were running the spy satellites, and spy satellites were secret. So I think the other spacesuit was made for a National Reconnaissance Office employee running the spy cameras, and we don't know who that was.
Right.
And we may never know. That's my working hypothesis about that second spacesuit there.
Have you ever heard that?
That was in that.
Hey, Max, have you ever?
No, I haven't heard that.
You ever heard that, Max? No.
No, but that's interesting. So that might represent some real part of the secret space program.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Now, in my imagination, of course, I find these connections in my mind, and you're of course, any skeptic would shoot it down as just being my imaginings. But to me, you could extend this and maybe take it to the Apollo 20 story. You've got spies in the government, like CIA people, some of whom maybe have had astronaut training.
Mm-hmm.
Possibility. I would say it was a possibility, and we've never been told about them.
Right.
And that could perhaps tie in with that Apollo 20 story, where you've got people named who don't appear in any history books and are not going to show up on Wikipedia on a list of astronaut names.
But that's
just my working hypothesis to deal with that story.
That's an interesting piece to the puzzle. And even the fact that they were different color than what normally was used is interesting in itself. So, wow, while you were talking, I did a quick search and I put a picture of a bunch of Gemini suits up there, and there are no blue ones for sure. But wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
There's a web.
N21, but I can't remember. It's been a long time since I researched that. Does anybody remember that?
Apollo 21?
Yeah.
No. I don't remember.
Well, what I remember reading was that there's the Apollo 20 went to the backside of the moon, and then they took videos of this gigantic craft that had hieroglyphics all over it. And my remembrance is that Apollo 21 went back to actually take people to land and see what was in the craft.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been a long time ago that I remember reading that, so I could be mistaken. Does anybody remember that?
No.
Well, my recollection is that, of course, congressionally mandated budget cuts mandated people doing the mandating included the young Joe Biden. Killed Project Apollo as a moon venture.
Mm-hmm.
Right after this was the last official flight to the moon was Apollo 17. Before that, the numbered series had gone on to, I think, Apollo 21, and all the hardware for these later missions had been built. Mm-hmm. They were 99% paid for, so the budget cuts saved the 1%.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some plausibility to these stories of later secret moon missions, or to that extent plausible. Now, of course, I have a take on the actual mechanics of later moon missions because I'm not sure I believe the Apollo 20 story as it's given to us. I would make one little
smaller and
divergence.
Supposedly unmanned, and they said, yeah, we got this, it's a secret thing, it's going up for secret missions, but that's all they said. So they're really acknowledging that there is a secret, at least one that's partially known of, because they allowed them to put pictures of it on the screen. It's kind of a stumpy.
So they say that more than half of the missions usually are military in their scope.
Probably, I would imagine.
So that means we only know
half
or less of what actually went on.
The military has had this kind of covert involvement in space from the very, very beginning, because they one thing that happened was that the effort to launch satellites earlier than Sputnik was basically killed, basically eliminated, not allowed in the 50s, because they wanted the Russians to send up the first satellite, because the Soviet Union then would claim a right of overflight with the satellite. And our military had plans for spy satellites all along, but one sticking point with spy satellites is that it's spying. I mean, it's in your airspace and it's spying on you. That's an act of war.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once Sputnik has orbited the Earth and they're saying satellites have this free rite of passage over the countries they pass over, we can use that and go ahead and launch our spy satellites. And it's legal. From that time on, it's legal.
Wow.
So that's why Sputnik was first. We wanted them to set the precedent of free overflight.
What was that, Max?
That's to let the Russians do it first, basically.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. I'm going to put up on the screen a picture taken by Apollo 16, I believe. And that is of that craft that Apollo 20 went to go look at, allegedly. And this is a picture I got right from the NASA website. And that's that derelict spacecraft on the far side of the moon.
Now, wasn't there a video showing them, I don't know, flying down to it, or?
Yeah, making approaches and going past it. Yeah. Yes, and in fact, still images from that video of them filming this close up. William Rutledge and his compadres there. They took that image and they put it in, photoshopped it in with some buildings. I showed this before. I'll show it again. But this shows you a clearer image of that same ship. So keep keep a memory of what that looks like. And check this out. This is so incredible. And I've seen this millions of times. I just love looking at it because it just looks, it's like pretty amazing stuff.
Isn't it like, I can't remember, a mile long or something?
3.5 miles.
3.5 miles.
3.5 miles.
I remember they showed a map of Manhattan or something.
Yeah, well, it's Manhattan and a couple other cities put in there. I think Seattle and a couple other cities. But yeah, it's taller. Even laying down, it's taller than the Eiffel Tower.
Oh.
So it's humongous. It's gigantic. And they found that body of Mona Lisa in the in a triangle-shaped craft near this gigantic craft. Because you can imagine, I mean, if they went up to go look at this, just a little crew of 3 people, which is that's all it was, 3 people, to survey something that big, they couldn't do it. There's no way. You'd have to take years and have space archaeologists go up there and climb aboard this thing. I think it'd be fabulous that they should do it. I mean, that would really.
Well, there was all kinds of stories that they found like a dead, what they thought was a male alien in some kind of big, looks like a control panel, kind of like what you saw in the beginning of was it the movie Alien? And then they found this woman that was supposedly alive that looked like a wraith out of Stargate Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
And they estimate her age as being over 100,000 years.
Yeah.
And there's stories that they brought her back to Earth.
You talking about Mona Lisa? Mona Lisa?
Is that a name they gave her or something?
In Apollo 20, yeah, that's the name they dubbed her, Mona Lisa. I'm trying to find, I have a picture of her somewhere.
Yeah, that book by Lynn Caston had an artist reconstruction, a supposed artist reconstruction of the body of the Mona Lisa alien as she would have appeared alive.
Right.
And of course, she's kind of Egyptian or North African looking, or maybe Mediterranean, with kind of brown colored skin and real straight black hair. And of course, the artist drew her to look absolutely drop dead, gorgeous, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love stories like that.
I thought I saw a picture that looked like she's very old and like a wraith, like in the Stargate Atlantis.
Yeah, that's really what the mummy looks like. But this artist used his imagination and improved on reality, I do believe, as artists are known to do.
Yeah, he gave her freckles. He gave her freckles and everything. Yeah, I'm trying to find
I think he was inspired by that movie, The Fifth Element.
Mm-hmm.
I think that had a dead alien lady brought back to life who was a redhead.
Yeah,
I think it's the same kind of theme going down there. The same kind of plot device.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love that.
I just did a Google search. I'm just going to make a screenshot of the Google search here. And it has that picture of that woman there, and it has the actual picture. So it's kind of better than just showing one picture at a time. So yeah, let's get that on up there. Yeah, it's a fascinating story. I will agree completely. It's one that's always captivated me too. It's, how can you not be captivated by it?
But it reminds me, there was a science fiction novel years and years ago that had a somewhat similar storyline.
Really?
A writer named James White. Of course, that name resonates with me because the founder of Knoxville was named James White, but this is a modern James White. He lived in Belfast, Northern Ireland. I think he's now passed away, but he wrote a novel called it was called All Judgment Fled. and it was a science fiction novel, and it was about this giant alien spaceship appears in the solar system, and it's in our time. It's not the far future, and so they send out an American expedition of astronauts to visit this thing, to explore it, and have quite an adventure. And it was not Star Trek technology. It was like Gemini Apollo technology that we had, and so we were definitely outclassed. It was a fascinating novel, but it was years and years ago, back in the 60s when it was written. But this thing reminded me of All Judgment Fled by James White.
Okay, interesting.
Boy, there was a great movie. What was that movie? It's called The Arrival, I think. At the set, I can't remember. The heptapods or something. I can't remember what they're called. Remember, it's got time travel in it. It's got gosh, I have to go see.
Yeah,
that
I remember
movie.
that movie, The Arrival. It was a weird movie. A little confusing, that one was, but it had great special effects.
It's something you got to watch many times, I think.
There was another movie, I can't remember the name of it, that had a somewhat similar theme about space vampires out on Halley's Comet. It had Steve Railsbeck as the star and Matilda May as the naked space alien lady.
Oh,
now, that was not a great movie. That was a cheesy movie with lots and lots of nudity, but I remember that one. It was somewhat similar to this idea. Modern space explorers find something out there that's utterly, fantastically weird.
Yeah, and the weird thing about this Mona Lisa is she wasn't dead and wasn't alive, somewhere in between. Because when they removed these things, these tubes or whatever they were, her mouth relaxed. I mean, if she was dead for millions of years, rigor mortis would have been
100,000 years at least that craft had been crashed on the surface of the moon.
Yeah, they don't know how long it's been up there, a million or a billion or who knows, right? They don't know.
Right.
But I think this artist did a great job, but I think her eyes are too close together here. They look further apart than that. So I think even though this is a great rendering, I think the eyes need to be a little bit further apart. That's just I'm nitpicking, but it's a beautiful piece of art. Go ahead.
If you want to see some interesting things supposedly about the real space program, go listen to Michael Sala's website. Now, it's so fantastical, it's hard to believe, but the most recent episode, they claim to have a document from the Galactic Federation about the Prime Directive document. Really? Yeah, it's like 10 different items, 10 different rules for the Prime Directive.
Okay.
And they claim it comes straight from our Galactic Federation.
Wow. And Sala's...
And they read it. They read the whole thing. So it's pretty interesting. I'd recommend it to people. It's fun to listen to. Of course, you never know. There's no sauce like a lot of these things, so you never know how much you could really believe.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. It's hard to know what to believe, you know. That's why you stick with your gut, you know. Your gut pretty much knows.
It's highly entertaining and very well done. So at very least you could say someone spent a lot of time on it if it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you'd like to believe, but you just can't believe, you know?
Right.
It's hard. You know, you listen to it and you say, you know, I believe something like that's happening, you know, just like Corey Good's story. I want to believe Corey Good, but to me, there's just not enough for me to believe. But I don't disbelieve.
Well, now he talks about there's some inner Earth people, and some of them have this gem under, or their crystal underneath their forehead, just like that Apollo 20 gal, Mona Lisa. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. But that's probably
I'd like for somebody to explain what that crystal does, because it's right where the third eye is in Eastern religions.
Right. I was looking at an old sketch I did, an idea I had a couple of years ago, and it was a drawing of a clear pyramid, and under the pyramid was the flower of life, you know, that circles that make the flowers.
Right.
And then the idea is you put your third eye like right where the point is, or right above where the point is, and you can upload some stuff. I don't know if it will work or not, but it's an idea that I sketched up. It looked kind of interesting. Who knows? You know, pyramid power.
Oh, they have the guy. I think the guy's name is John Willis or something like that. That's no, John Wills is on the last two episodes of Linda Moulton Howell's show.
Okay.
And he's the guy that supposedly went to the gateway of the gods in Peru.
Okay.
And sang three different tones. He kneeled down in front of the gateway of the gods and put his head on this stone and the thing, and he disappeared. His wife was there, and the guy disappeared. And he's got this fantastic story of how he was transported to another universe. Mm-hmm. And it's all kind of an all white environment, and this voice out of the white, you know, said, you know, how'd you get here? And you know, he said, well, this is what I did, and I showed up here, and the guy said, well, that's your universe over there. We created it in the lab.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to figure out how to stop it growing.
Wow.
And they said, we can't figure out how life developed in the universe either.
Wow.
It was a very fantastical story about that.
Yeah. I remember that. You remember you told me that before. That's a fantastic story. Wow.
But they got the guy's actual interview was on the Linda Moulton Howell the last two Wednesdays.
Okay. I'll have to check that out.
So I recommend it. It's interesting, you know.
I'll check that out. I found a picture that I talked about on a previous episode that I couldn't find during that episode. I found it, and that is a picture from Billy Meyer's album, and a photo album, and it shows, let's see, let me get to it here. Where is it? Well, where is it? I guess I'll just have to look at it. Well, hold on a second. That's so confusing. All right. So it was a plant that, so Billy was brought to either Earth way back in time or in a prehistoric planet that was just developing. And they were explaining, these extraterrestrials were explaining to Billy that when a planet is evolving, the plant life on a planet, like this plant life here, you can see two little eyes kind of in the midway. I can't get to where I can point to it. But he said that they told him that the plants, they sprout these little heads, and pretty soon a whole little body that detaches, an insect body that detaches, and it goes and it has a symbiotic relationship with that plant. It goes off and gets something that plant needs, whether it be pollination or whatever it is. And so I thought that was fascinating. So this is that picture. It's not that clear, can't really see much on it, but I thought I'd share it. So that's that. So, yeah.
That's pretty wild there.
It is pretty wild, yeah. And you never know about some of this stuff. You have to take it all with a grain of salt.
Right.
But
it's fun. It's highly entertaining.
Yeah. And I'm showing right now a picture from the new merch store, the Skinny Bob shirt, which I think is pretty cool. I'm going to get one myself because I want to wear it on the air here. And Skinny Bob, a real alien, verified by Bernie Mendez, and who I'm trying to get onto the show. I've got a couple calls into him. We'll see what happens. So anxiously waiting for that. So what else is on your mind, Austin?
Oh, not that was that was what I was wanting to call in about the spacesuit story, because it's I visited the website astronautics.com. It's astronaut and then the ix.com, which is sort of a storehouse of historical factoids about space travel.
Okay.
And it now has on its little section on the MOL project saying that there were 22 spacesuits built for MOL project before it got canceled, which interested me because in manned space programs, you don't really build a spacesuit until a man's been assigned to go on a mission, because they're too expensive to just build them and store them away somewhere. But these were built and stored away somewhere, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I think there are still maybe some secrets that we haven't been told about that era and that time and that activity. I think we know. I think we know. I mean, we only get partial stories, right? They can't tell us everything. Yeah. And this thing about the 22 spacesuits, it wasn't on that website until just recently. That particular reference, because I'd read that story, I'd read that article before, and it didn't say anything about 22 spacesuits, but it says that now. Okay, wow. Have you heard about the time travel device that I'm coming out with? The time machine? Oh, you've got one-way travel. It goes into the future at the rate of 1 minute per minute. Well, yeah, well, close, but yeah, don't give it away. Don't give it away. It's a big dad joke waiting to come out, waiting to sprout. So we'll have details on that tomorrow. I got this handy little shipping thing here I need to go get it weighed and get the all the shipping on this. See, it's all protected so that the time crystals don't get lost in shipping. It's very important. So very critical. It's very delicate technology, ancient technology, and modern.
Yeah.
You can't.
I'll have to bring my time. I have to bring my time machine sometime.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an anti-gravity device too.
Oh, darn.
It actually levitates.
I got to work on mine then to get mine up to snuff. Wow, you're beating me out. I better hurry up and get this out before it's obsolete. Wow. That's pretty cool.
I got videos of it.
You do?
In operation. Yeah.
No way. So,
yeah.
Okay, folks, you might not know this, but nobody knows.
It wasn't designed to be a time machine.
No?
No.
Well, that's all great inventions are accidental, aren't they?
It was part of a chemical experiment, and then something happened in the experiment. The experiment actually didn't work. The intended experiment did not work. Instead, I've got part of the device levitating. And I showed it to a number of chemists and scientists, and they said, we don't know what that is, but it's not something we've ever seen. Wow. And so I kept it, I discovered it in, I don't know, 2009-ish. Yeah. And I've been trying to figure it out ever since, I'm not going to go into the story about why I say it's a time machine, but not right now anyway. Okay. Yeah, we don't want you to get in trouble. Now, nobody knows exactly who this guy Maxwell Smart is. He's got an alias. No one knows who he is. Every time I talk to him, I hear some other little clue. He's got a fantastic background, folks. He's a very intelligent guy. He's an inventor. Probably, has some secret. He's a secret identity guy. So, and I want to thank Nicoletta Trumpy Bear for another super chat. Thank you very much. Little dancing character. Very cute. Thank you so much. We appreciate that so much. Well, I'll be honest, Aaron, that there are times when I have a hard time believing what I'm seeing, so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's that surreal. It's the best way to describe it. You know.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I hit my head, and I all of a sudden I had images and memories of things that, as far as I know, I never did before.
Wow. So you're saying we should all hit our heads and maybe we'll remember something?
No.
Don't try this at home.
Maybe it's like, but remember Doc Brown hit his head on the toilet. Remember the plug capacitor?
Okay. Yeah.
No, it was not quite something like that, but it was actually a hanging cabinet that I came up and hit my head on the corner of the cabinet.
Oh man, who invented corners anyway?
And I saw stars. You know, like they show you in the cartoons. All of a sudden you're seeing stars.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
But the weirdest thing happened after that is, you know, the old time film strips. You know.
Yeah.
Well, when you before you get them adjusted so that they're showing one frame, you see all kinds of frames on the screen.
Sure.
Okay, well that's what it was like in front of both eyes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And for the first day, I couldn't see through that.
Wow.
It was really strange. And the second day, I could see partially through it, and the third day, I could barely see it.
Yeah.
And it finally cleared out. But during that time, I lost some of my memories of even hitting my head.
Wow.
But I had all these memories of things I did and things I saw, and even things that happened with the time device I'm talking about.
Wow.
So it's like all those memories were blocked from me somehow.
Wow.
Until I hit my head, and those things come rushing back to me, which I'm still trying to process that. Are those real memories? What are they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'll be honest, I don't quite know what I experienced, but there's some strange occurrences since then that make me think that there's a lot more to this than I ever thought. You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think, you know, we walk through this life and we think we're not making much of a wave, but some you know, you never know. You know, we all have a impact on what happens. And
well, remember, I'm a scientist, so you know, it's really hard for me to say crazy things like, you know, I did this or I did that, and you know, and have no. Well, I do have proof, but you know, some proof.
Mm-hmm.
But when I hear things like what's happened to Andrew, I'm thinking, wow, there's actually things in his stories that resonate with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
Not like I've experienced what he did. No, I don't. There's no memories whatsoever of anything. I wasn't, as far as I know, I wasn't one of those people.
Yeah.
That Andrew talks about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of crazy the things that I did see. You know. So anyway, at some point maybe I'll talk about it. It's just a little too strange for me right now. Mm-hmm. You know, I have a fear that people would judge me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because honestly, it does sound pretty crazy, the things I have to say. But
well, we like crazy around here. Abby asked. Go ahead.
I'll just say this: that I even saw something with your name on it.
Yeah, you told me that. That's bizarre. Do you want to tell that story? I don't know if you want to tell that story or not.
No, I don't want to tell that because it would reveal more about maybe who I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little too much at the moment, but you know, the thing is, when I first saw this thing with your name on it, I'd never met you before.
Right.
Never heard of you before.
I haven't even heard of myself before.
So it's kind of crazy in that regard. So there's the whole there's basically this document that showed up where one of my old jobs, out of the blue, I had a friend in the room with me who was sitting in the room, and he's a ex-Secret Service person, And I said, hey, did you see where this came from? Did somebody drop this off? I said, no. I says, have you been in here the whole time? I says, yeah. I says, well, how'd this get here? It says, it wasn't here 5 minutes ago. I says, I don't know, but I was sitting here the whole time, and nobody came in the door, or nothing I saw. And so I scratched my head and went on with my work, and my buddy, the Secret Service person, started, do you mind if I read it? He says, no, I don't mind it. And it says, it says, what's the title? And I said, well, he told me the title, but I'm not going to tell the title because people would recognize it. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, just say people would recognize it. And they said, well, who's the author? And he said, Aaron I couldn't say your name. Moriarity. He says, Moriarty? He says, yeah, that's it. And that's the only reason I remembered it.
Wow.
And, but I looked through this, and it was a draft document. It had markups. It had blue and yellow and red, like it showed words. This word goes down here, with an arrow, and like it was some kind of draft document. And,
sure.
And I read just a little bit of it. Well, my friend read a lot more of it, and he did. Anyway, I don't want to go too much more into it right now. So
okay.
I'll let people guess what that might be.
All right.
But, so it's a little too fantastical to put out there right at the moment.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that much of it. Yeah, that when you first told me that really freaked me out.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat is talking about someone, who was it, made a suggestion. Let me see. Abby asks, do you have stickers with the Truth Quest Q logo? If not, it would make a great one. Thank you. Yeah. I have thought about that, and I wish that my merch store had that option. I don't have that option right now. I could print them myself, but or find another printing place to do it. That's a really great idea. I should do that. Yeah. And, in the meantime, this company is always adding new things, so they might add stickers too. That would be the easiest way to do it, but yeah. I have other things for sale besides that I manufacture myself. So
I was a little freaked out when Andrew was on there talking about how in the future somewhere he'd seen some kind of a document or something with your name on it. And so when I heard that, I'm thinking, wow, maybe he sold us a document that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really weird when Andy told me that. He said that he wanted to work with me on a show. And I said, well, there's other shows that are bigger than mine, much more people. And he said, well, but I want to work with you. He goes, I really admire your work. And I think you know my story very well. And also on one of my trips into the future, when I was in Project Pegasus, I saw your name. And I said, wow. So that's really bizarre. Then you saw my name too? That's so weird.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
I have the sense that I wrote this document and I put your name on it.
Okay.
But I don't know how one proves that, But
wow.
It's an important document.
Well, I guess we got to wait till you bump your head again so we get some more info, huh?
Well, it's like some of these people describe it, and I never imagined, it would be like that. That you get little things that continue to come out as you're going. Like you have memories of things, and you'll recognize somebody, and say, I've seen that person before, but I have no idea where I would have seen that person before.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
And little things that, like this thing, I suddenly remembered, like somewhere I've got something stored, hidden a computer somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's hidden because I can't remember that part, but
Wow.
there's a memory of hiding some kind of all kinds of technical documents of some kind.
Wow. Now we really got to wait till you hit your head again.
I have no idea what that means.
I think you better go check that cupboard again.
Yeah, hit it again.
Just kidding.
I think my parents would differ with that.
Yeah. What is it with cupboard?
'Cause
You know what? I always think about where words come from. Cupboard. Where's that word come from? Cup board. It was a board that you put a cup on. Cups.
right?
Cup board. Then they put a door in front of it. Oh, cupboard. Cup board. Okay, go on. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
That's interesting.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. Cup board.
Well, I was thinking about. Remember how I said this number, what you call a number theory, this whatever mathematics that I've been talking about, right? Well, if there's this kind of commonality in recurring patterns in nature, there's certainly these recurring patterns in our words.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at almost all the things like of and the and whatever, they all add up to 3, 6, or 9 ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whereas the other words, add up to the other numbers. Okay, well, it dawned on me that maybe this is could be the basis for some kind of future universal translator.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Because if these patterns exist throughout the universe, then other beings may have similar patterns.
Yeah.
Like you can spot words like of and the by the numbers they reduce to.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a way to guess what an alien was saying, for example.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Just something I had a thought. And then I had another thought that maybe we could somehow confuse all the algorithms somehow, where we'd all deliberately say certain phrases which were slightly different than the real word, like, I don't know.
Like when those frogs had that Budweiser commercial? Budweiser.
Vibus until the other word would be, right?
Mm.
Or something like that. And maybe if we had a linguist that could tell us how we could shift, we'd have 30 or 40 people in the movement use that word, right? If they've got an adaptive algorithm, then we can make the algorithm turn on itself. So that nothing would be acceptable. Everything would be gibberish to it.
Yeah.
So it couldn't shut down everything. So it would literally crash.
Okay.
So I've been giving a lot of thought to that. How we might be able to use the algorithm against itself.
Okay.
So I'm giving a lot of thoughts to that. So that's what we all need to do is think, how do we use the things that the black hats are doing
To break the matrix.
How do we turn that against them, right?
Break the matrix.
Anticipate what they're going to do and then let them step into it. That's what I contend has happened. Where Trump knew what was going to happen. He knows they're going to declare, the I word on January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows he can't declare it because they'd raise heck about it. So he lets them do it, which basically activates the Insurgency Act of 1807.
Okay.
Which allows him legally to take power during a belligerent occupation.
I like that.
And I think that's the legal basis by how our old president is actually the current president.
Yeah.
And then what we have now is a Pino president in name only.
Yes, President in name only. Pino. That is a Maxwell Smart original.
Right.
What do you think about that, Austin? You still with us?
Yeah, well, I hope so. I don't generally comment on politics since I don't want to get you banned. I don't want that to happen here.
Political,
political stuff can backfire on you.
Very careful how I say it.
Yeah. A few years ago wouldn't be any problem, but now that we're turning into China, the Chinification of America.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when we had free speech in this country.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it was great. It was a wonderful thing, and I think we're going to get it again. I think all my friends who lost Facebook or their YouTube channels are going to get them back. I hope. Like hope Red Pill and all.
I hope so, but
that would be
I could also weigh in here on the subject of alien languages.
Okay.
When the Michael Salas Exopolitics website, he goes on and on saying that we currently have diplomatic relations going on with star beings from out there. He believes that. I don't see proof of it yet, but he thinks so, and he believes that. And that makes me think of all these Star Trek nerds learning Klingon. And Klingon is a made-up language for the TV show that's designed by its designers to be ugly. I mean, it's supposed to sound ugly. It's supposed to be the bad guy's language, so it's supposed to be real ugly sounding, and all these nerds learning it so they can chant Klingon and pretend they're tough guys. And it seems to me that if we really had diplomatic contact with real aliens now, people should be finding out what their language really is and learning that language.
Yeah.
Instead of studying Klingon. Of course, that's not going to make me popular with the nerds, I guess, but that's my feeling on the matter.
That's kind of like my feeling about sports for a long time. It's like it's a kid's game. I mean, why waste your time looking at the stats and one of the other team is going to win or it's going to tie. What's the point? But I think things like that will use up brain space and keep people occupied. But
it's part of our culture. It's such a huge part of our culture.
Yeah, I know. When I first moved up here, I said to someone, the only culture they have around here is in the yogurt.
You don't know.
No.
It's not true. Not true. It's just a joke. But yeah. Feel free to use that joke.
The thing we got to remember too, we've learned that there's a number of awake people, even in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
And so we got to be careful. We got to be careful not to, call them all bad people, because there's some really good people still.
Right. You can't lump them all in together. I mean, one bad apple.
We got to try also not to engage in the same kind of cancel culture that they do.
Right.
We've got to try to say, okay, well, there's certain things that are appropriate, right? If we see companies and whatever doing things that affect our rights, it's perfectly appropriate to not buy their products. I think that's a highly effective tool.
Yeah.
In fact, I think any big company that engages in requiring a mandate, maybe we ought to think about boycotting their products.
Yeah. I'll never do a mandate, never do a mandate, and I'll never date a man. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, let's hope not.
No mandates and no date man. But yeah, I will never wear a mask. I've done videos of me going into big box stores around here where masks are required. I don't wear a mask. I got the Invisimask on. It's something I invented. Sent one to everyone's face. Everyone's got one. It's teleported right to you. But yeah, when they asked me, I said I have the Invisimask on, and that's what you have to say, or that's what you could say. But yeah, It's a beautiful thing to live free and to be able to breathe. It's a lovely thing to be able to breathe. Go ahead.
I don't know if you heard about this movement to try to get the law enforcement in this country to just stand up and say no to that they're not going to enforce any of these things.
Mm-hmm.
So that would go a long way. If, you know, and I know there's a police union in New York City has already done that. I think it was New York City. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't New York City. No. I heard it on Red, White, and Truth.
Okay.
And they said no. It was near where they're. Yeah, it was. It was New York City. The guy says it's just outside of New York City on the north side. I think that's where they filmed that show. Apparently.
Okay.
And they were saying that the police union there said that they're not going. They're coming out against any kind of mandate.
Yeah.
So imagine if that happened countrywide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna. We're coming to that. People are sick of this. Thank you again, Nicoletta Trumpy Bear, for the cute little. I think it's a kitty cat pointing number 1. So cute.
But it's gone the opposite direction in Australia. See, the police are not standing up. They're saying, "This is my job," you know. So I'm going to do it, you know?
Well, I just saw a video of, I don't know where it was, but a bunch of police throwing their shields in a pile and walking away and refusing to stop the people. You know, they had the plastic barrier things. They just threw in a pile. They refused to do that anymore. You know, that's going to happen. That will happen because, you know, especially with, you know, we're hitting this area of space with a higher energy. It's making the good people, you know, really good and the mean people really mean. So the good people, these cops, most cops are good people. That's why they're in that job. They're going to get that and feel that. And they're going to like, you know what? I can't do this. This is just, and they're going to see other people doing it. They're going to feel guilty that they're not joining humanity. Because, you know, we're all one and we all need to get along. So, you know.
And they can't do anything to it if everybody stands up.
Right.
So as soon as some of these people stand up, then everybody needs to stand up and say, okay, we're against this. I'm waiting to see what happens in these red states where they're trying to, you know, stop the executive orders and things that governors have put out.
Yeah.
I want to see what the parents do, because I bet a lot of parents will say, you know, they'll just take their kids out. Either they'll send their kids to school without a mask and continue to do so, or they'll pull the kids out completely. I don't know what. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they'll take it lying down. I think they will respond. It's just what is that response going to be?
Yeah.
So we've got to have to wait and see.
Yeah.
What's going to go on? So.
I think the peace is the way. Peace is the only way. And for the people, for the public to be, I mean, unless someone's knocking at your door that's going to violate your rights, then that's a whole different story, and everyone has to take care of their own. But I think just standing together, like you said, against all these crazy mandates, these power grabs, is just ridiculous.
Well, you know, we can't do anything. We can't, even though the Patriots have all kinds of weapons, we can't use those. This is not the kind of fight that we can use those, because we know what would happen if a bunch of Patriots showed up someplace with any kind of weapons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would not be
that
good.
That would be the basis. They'd have some kind of a crazy guy somewhere, sharpshooter.
Yeah.
And somebody would get hurt, and of course, next thing they would do is blame the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then they'd have all these draconian measures to take away guns.
That's what they always do.
We can all see. They'd like that to happen. We can all see that, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
That's what they'd love to happen.
They're probably paying some new immigrants money right now to do something like that. But But even
Right.
talking about possibly planning something could be construed a certain way too. So we got to be careful how we say stuff like that. But I think people understand the way you said it. The zombie apocalypse, yeah, the zombie apocalypse is all the people wearing masks. That's the zombies. Yeah.
Right.
They said the zombie apocalypse was coming, and they're right. I mean, these people with masks, they're limiting their intake of oxygen. They're getting dumber by the minute, and they're zombies. They can't think. They can't think. I mean, my goodness, 99.9% survival rate. Does that say?
You ever see
Does that say I'm going to die tomorrow, or is that going to say, well, you know what, got a pretty good chance?
You ever see that movie World War Z? That's a pretty good movie.
No, I never saw it.
It's a pretty gory movie, in my opinion. I don't go for that kind of stuff.
That's probably why I didn't watch it. I don't like gory stuff.
Oh, I liked it because especially in the end, was that man? I think it was Matt Damon, wasn't it?
I don't know.
He was the guy that penetrated this Russian virus center.
Yeah.
And then he discovered that he can inject himself with a virus, not something that's lethal. And because he was damaged, the zombies would leave him alone.
Mm.
And so he realized that he could camouflage everybody if they found the right V to give people.
Mm-hmm.
The zombies couldn't find them. So then they could, of course, wipe out the zombies without the zombies attacking them.
Mm.
So I'm sorry if I just gave that away to people who've not seen it.
Oh, well. Yeah.
It was a pretty good movie. The special effects were pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think what we need to do is all make our own movies. Make our own content. Cool. Make our own content. That's why I'm working on this this graphic novel here, because I want it to be a movie. It almost was, but hopefully I can get it up there again. Get that movie out. But
yeah, the thought occurred to me, if that Apollo 20 YouTube thing was a fake, we need to find out how they faked it. we could make our movie based on that.
Yeah. He would have had
that could make a really good movie.
He would have had to have built the inside of an exact replica of the inside of a Apollo capsule, because that's where they filmed the body of Mona Lisa. They would have had to have built that. That wouldn't have been easy. That wouldn't have been cheap. Yeah, they're not making any money off of it. Nobody's making any money off of this thing. So you're not going to spend millions of dollars on something and not make any money on it. The whole story sounds totally plausible. William Rutledge was pissed off because he wasn't invited to the White House with all the other people who were on the moon, just because his was, classified. They didn't invite him. He was pissed, so he released all that footage. I mean, it totally makes sense to me. Makes sense. It's amazing that he had the footage, that they let him have it. That's the only thing that.
It reminds me that my favorite Big Bang Theory, the TV show Big Bang Theory, my favorite episode is the one where Howard Wolowitz goes into orbit to visit the space station. Because this is a TV sitcom, but it shows these guys in the Soyuz capsule going up.
Interesting. I never saw that.
What was his name? He had some kind of a nickname they gave him.
Yeah, well, they overheard him being yelled at by his mother. His mother was wanting to take some cereal with him into space. She wanted to know if he needed some Fruit Loops.
Mm.
So his astronaut nickname became Fruit Loops.
Oh boy.
He wanted a cool astronaut nickname like Rocket Man, and what he ended up with was Fruit Loops.
Yeah. That's funny.
I still think that's hilarious. I love that show, that particular episode of the show where he goes into the space station, because they did some good special effects for a sitcom. You just don't expect that.
Right. Yeah, I know how tough that is. We did a kind of a sitcom, sort of a space drama, Space Cadets, in cable access back in the 90s. You might scroll down on my channel, you'll see those things where I was Captain Aaron Jarrell of the SS Clinton, flagship of the coalition fleet, guarding the mining of the asteroid belt from space pirates, like the evil Eric Thorne, always a thorn in my side. But yeah, check that out. It's kind of crappy editing, but I did not do the editing. Okay, I can't take credit for that.
Remember some of those old Twilight Zone episodes? Some of them were pretty good.
Yeah.
There's the one To Serve. It's called To Serve Man. Remember? And they're,
oh yeah, it's a cookbook.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the original Star Trek. The idea that it's the 23rd century, and William Shatner is walking down the hallway of the spaceship, and he goes to the intercom and he switches the metal toggle switch, in the 1860s metal toggle switch to talk on.
Right.
It's so funny. I thought, wow, they're still gonna have those in the future.
But remember, they didn't have flip phones then. Even the communicator looked just like the flip phone.
I know it. Yeah, they had a lot of things right, didn't they?
Right.
Yeah, they did. They did. For Space Cadets, our show, well, I created a lot of props that we never actually used. One of them was a flashlight I used for a shaver, like a laser shaver, like in the future. Yeah. So that was kind of
Well,
cool.
I discovered there was a Star Trek Voyager episode. It's like the 4th episode in the show.
Yeah.
They're on this planet, and there's something's destroyed the planet, and they sense that they see images of the past, where there's people everywhere, and they don't know what's happened. And anyway, they discover that they caused this destruction. Well, in that episode, they've got these people on this planet have these weapons that they're using, and I recognize it. It's a flashlight. It's a flashlight. It bends, and it looks just like that.
Wow. Cool. That's
they
fun.
use a flashlight as a prop.
Yeah, actually, we did that too when we first started doing Space Cadets. Before we had our animation guy do our animations, we were just putting flashlights on a stick and holding them up in front of like a star field screensaver, so it looks like they're going through space, like some kind of spaceship with a light emitting out of the back. Kind of fun. Yeah.
See, I got one of those flashlights right here, and listen to it. It sounds like it even sounds like a gun cocking.
Oh yeah. Wow. Wow, that's cool.
Anyway.
Oh, Nicoletta Trumpy Bear. By the way, thank you again for that latest super chat and all the ones you did today, Nicoletta. You rock. Elvis walked around with a huge flashlight. Knock the crap out if a killer, LOL. Yeah. Yeah, Elvis, yeah. Oh, he had a temper, and he was a fighter. He was a fighter. Like in the early days, in the 50s, they'd play these places, they called them buckets of blood, because they would, break out in fights. This is before he became popular. They did a lot of, rough places like that. And I heard that if someone told Elvis, hey, Elvis, that guy over there at the bar, he said something about your mother, he'd go and beat the crap out of that guy. Even if he didn't say it. But yeah, he's a scrapper, and you can tell in the fight scenes that Elvis in the movies that he was a scrapper for sure. I heard that Sylvester Stallone, when he was filming that one Rocky with Dolph Lundgren, he played the Russian boxer, I believe. He said, okay, Dolph, on this one, I want you to hit me as hard as you can. No, for real. And he said, okay. He did. And he was like, he put Stallone in the hospital for like 9 days. But he probably got the shot pretty good, you know.
I had this buddy once. I was glad to have him as a friend. His dad was a police chief, and he just looks like Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
And boy, he was a badass because he you know, and I was glad to have him as my friend because we go someplace and if there was trouble. Now he didn't like to cause trouble, but boy, if somebody started trouble, he wanted to be involved in it to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was impressive to watch this guy fight. I mean, he knew what he was doing. I mean, so the only bad part about knowing this guy, I'd see him out. I would be out in public,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd sneak up behind me and scare the living, you know, daylights out of me.
Sure.
You know. So, and it happened a lot. You know, I'd be someplace I never would in 1,000 years believe I'd run into this guy.
Right.
And all of a sudden he'd be behind me, and I didn't know. Of course, I didn't know who was behind me. You know.
Yeah. Right. How do you know?
Well, all of a sudden he's got you in a chokehold or something, and you're like, "Uh-oh," you know, who is this?
Mm-hmm.
And he'd play it up for about 5 minutes. He played up for 5 minutes, and I didn't recognize his voice, you know. And then he says, you know, you're too easy, you know. You got to toughen you up. So, well, I think my Secret Service friend taught me a few of their moves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were going to. There was a campus nearby, and then we were going to train. Well, he was going to train these people for free, all the students how to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was doing is I had developed a test strip. And the test strip was could test 3 of the major date rape drugs
Mm-hmm.
in alcohol.
Really?
So I was going to make these test strips available to, you know, the area bars, and so that they could test drinks and protect people.
Mm-hmm.
And it cost about 25 cents for one of these test strips. So,
Okay.
but I found a number of people that were willing to essentially subsidize that, so that we could give it to a lot of these clubs for free.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And it fell apart because, a couple of things happened that kept us from doing it. But we had every intention of doing this. We're actually going to travel to a number of universities to do the same thing. But it fell through.
Wow.
So we found some expired patents, or people had developed these test strips that, and then we're going to adapt that technology to, like I said, make it freely available to people.
Interesting. Now, I know I heard about something like that, similar to that in California. These two girls, I think students, they invented this straw, this kind of a straw, plastic straw that when you drink through it, if there's any of those date drugs, it changes the straw's color so they can tell. And then what happened? Then California outlawed straws.
Oh, boy.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
Finally a way to check, and then they outlaw the straws. It really
Great.
makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It makes you wonder well, we all know that they're evil.
Yeah.
Those people are evil, so it's not too surprising.
Yeah, I don't know why people want to be evil. I mean, I think being a good guy is way, way cooler. Way, way cooler to be the good guy. The good guy always wins in the end. Might seem like the bad guy's winning all the time, but in the end, good guy wins.
Right.
Bad guy doesn't win.
But wouldn't it be nice though if we could suddenly create the Avengers to go around, you know, and take down the deep state.
Mhm.
Wouldn't that be pretty cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we are taking them down. I think it's going to
Oh,
be.
we are. I know, but
It's, you know, you can see all these things creeping up, you know, and it's all going to come to a crescendo pretty soon. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty
you
exciting.
imagine all the superheroes of DC Comics and all the Marvel superheroes would suddenly show up on the Capitol Mall
Yeah.
and say, "This ends now."
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
So, but we are the superheroes. So.
Yeah. Speaking of superheroes, have you seen those guys in the jet packs that little wing jet thing that they fly around Dubai? And there's like two guys now, and they fly together. They fly, you know, around all the buildings and past jets. And
Oh yeah, there's some that actually have little not ram jets. What are they called? They're real jets, though, right?
yeah.
Little small jets.
Yeah.
I would build some engines when I was young. I was into model rocketry, but I was also into making model airplanes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was always fascinated by those ones with the miniature jet engines on it.
Yeah. Wow.
And those things were impressive, but at the time they were out of my reach because they were back then. There was like a $500 engine. You know.
Yeah. Do you remember the Dodge Turbine cars? They had turbine engines, and they were testing them, and they gave them to like 1,000 people or a couple hundred people, but there's still some around, and they just sound so cool. Sounds like an airplane.
Well, you remember Bob Lazar had his jet car.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
You imagine building that? That took some skill.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of my brother building the Futurian. You know, he had to figure out lots of stuff. The Futurian.
What's that?
I'll get it up on the screen here.
Is that the precursor to your time machine?
No.
Okay.
It's a bubble top custom car done in the same vein as Ed Big Daddy Roth.
Huh. Oh.
So he built this from scratch, sculpted it, and built the frame and everything else like that. So let me show you this here. You're gonna.
Did we lose Mr. Austin?
No, he's still here. He's just being very quiet.
I'm still here, taking the dog outside.
Okay.
Trying to.
All right.
Yeah.
What kind of dog you have?
Here she goes. Yeah, it's mixed breed. She's part Labrador and part boxer. Half boxer, half Labrador. A boxador, black boxador.
Wow. That's cool.
She has the beautiful face of a Labrador retriever, but the kind of body conformation of a boxer dog, and some of the habits of a boxer dog.
Uh-huh.
Whenever she sees another dog, she wants to start a fight.
You get some of the boxing gloves?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She has the instincts.
Here's the car my brother built.
I found a perfect thing to deal with a dog that doesn't let you get close.
Yeah.
Have a Ziploc bag full of bacon.
Yeah.
You just start throwing bacon on the ground, and before you know it, that dog is not mad at you anymore.
Of course not. No.
And eventually, the dog will come up and want to be petted.
Mm-hmm.
That's outside, and it's cool out here. It's cool in Knoxville, Tennessee. So it's like it's fall weather now.
Is it? Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah,
here.
very, very cool.
It's
quite remarkable.
I gotta bring my avocado tree in. I don't know.
Every night here for the past 3 months has been humid, and it's cool. Cool out there.
That's nice.
Pleasant night.
Is this normal for that time of year? Austin, is that normal for this time of year?
Well, it's really more normal for October than September, but it's we're at the changeover to fall, I do believe. Leaves aren't turning yet, though.
My leaves are in Wisconsin. My leaves in my backyard are turning. Yep.
The leaves are changing there?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. And boy, we have to be shoveling the weather pretty soon. Yes, my brother built.
Now you mentioned your brother building something called a Futura car.
Futurian. That's the Futurian. It's got
Futurian.
It's got a
Because the original Batmobile was a Lincoln Futura.
Futura, yes.
That's what the original car had been called. It was some sort of custom car that was just it was not intended for a TV show, but the TV show bought it and made it the Batmobile.
Right. It was a show car from 1956, I believe, and he bought it for $1. But he did a lot of.
When I was just a toddler, the person who owned the Batmobile lived about five buildings away from me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So I get to see the Batmobile a lot. Of course, I was like wanting to see it closer, and they said, "No, don't go over there. You're gonna get in trouble." You know.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to sit in it.
Here's the back end of the Futurian, and now the taillights were called the coolest taillights on the planet by one of the hot rod magazines. I don't know if it was Street Rodder or one of those, but look at those taillights. Pretty cool. But yeah, he did the whole thing. And the front is so low profile that it was too low to put the springs in. There weren't rooms for the springs. So he put the springs sideways. So they compress kind of sideways, but the car still goes up and down. So he figured that out. Unbelievable. The guy's like, so not only is it a gorgeous car design-wise and painting and execution and design, everything, but also the engineering behind it. Underneath that shell is a remarkable handmade frame, 57 Chevy rear end, front end, I can't remember what it's out of, 37 something, I can't remember, but he blew the bubble top himself out of plexiglass. It's hard to do. It's a very difficult thing to blow a bubble like that, and he's done many of them. And he's refurbished a lot of Big Daddy Roth's cars and sold them over the years, bought them and sold them. And if you want to see more of these, look on my channel for my brother's garage videos. I've got 3 videos. It shows my brother's garage, shows this car and many other custom cars. He's got like a museum in his garage. It's fabulous. It's unbelievable. And he's even got upstairs in the garage, he's got this cabinet, Austin, with like a 3 foot long or 2.5 foot long Batmobile, and right below it is the Ford Futura, same size.
Oh.
And that's on one of the videos too. You'll see that, but yeah, they did just minor things.
That bubble.
Yeah.
That bubble top makes me think of George Jetson's car.
I know it. Yeah, right.
That's what I imagine cars of the future looking like.
Yeah. That's very Big Daddy Roth.
About 10 years ago, I wanted to buy a van, and they have there's this place that makes custom air conditioning units of basically any size you want. And the advantage of these things is they don't use much power, because you can have one that, I was going to make one that like 6 inches tall by 10 inches deep, I can't remember, like 1.5 feet long. I was going to mount it into the side of the van, and I was going to put solar panels on top of the roof and power it. So this thing would be on all through the summer months, right? You didn't have to use any battery power.
Right.
And, it wouldn't be super fantastic until the sun went down, but it would be enough to keep the inside of the car cool. And I had this idea, and I never followed through with it. I was going to buy a van and put this in and put a little refrigerator in there and just make something cool. And I had this whole gel pack battery system that I was designing to put in the back so that the sun's energy, excess energy, would go into this gel pack battery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was designing it so that in the event of a power outage, I could turn off the power in the house and plug in this cable to the car, the van, and actually power the house for certain things in the house for a few days.
Wow. You're an expert on batteries, right?
Quite a bit about batteries.
Okay. So why can't someone, would it be possible to design a battery where it's half battery and then the rest of the space is, the other half is like a super capacitor? So you could get fast upcharge and longer lasting. You get the best of both worlds. I mean, so you make batteries that look like normal batteries, but inside of them is only half of the battery, but the other half is a super capacitor. Would that work?
Well, it probably would work, but you'd have to ask, well, what would be the benefit? I mean, it's hard to beat a supercapacitor. You know, the graphene supercapacitors have the benefit of you can charge them in minutes, a few minutes.
Yeah.
And small ones like your cell phone, that they're going to start being a commonplace on a marketplace. Almost every new phone soon will have a supercapacitor, so you can charge it in 60 seconds or less.
Okay. All right. Well, then they've already figured that out then, I guess.
Oh, yes. Graphene supercapacitor. Look them up. Graphene supercapacitor.
I knew
And there's some videos online. They show you how you can make a simple version of that at home, basically.
Yeah. The idea is the undulating surface, the undulating surfaces on the supercapacitor, because normal capacitors are just flat sheets of metal with distance between them. They could hold a charge. But if they could undulate they found that they could undulate the surfaces and get more surface space.
Surface area, yeah.
That's the superconductor. So yeah, I always wondered, you know, because superconductors are way lighter and they charge faster. I mean, why would you even bother with batteries? I mean, it's so weird.
Well, some of the best batteries still made. One of the oldest batteries was one that Edison made.
Yeah. It's
called the Edison battery, and it's extremely good in the sense that it's almost, most of them that were made still operate today. A lead acid battery only lasts about 10 years maximum. Okay.
Wow.
So people have been buying these up left and right for their home solar systems, because they also have a high capacity of energy they can store.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing is you can even put the wrong voltage, charge it with the wrong voltage, and it still works.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what it was is, you can look this up. They got a great detail for all this. I've got a number of these batteries. They basically have steel electrodes, and another one is nickel plated steel.
Mm-hmm.
That's the two electrodes, and then you got potassium hydroxide is the solution inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course that's still hazardous. You got to be careful. You can't get that in your eye or something. But they're fantastic batteries. They're just unbelievable. They're still the best batteries today, although they're very heavy. That's the disadvantage of them.
Okay.
But there's people that have repeated that. The Russians have a company that makes Edison batteries under a different name, of course. And the Chinese have a company that makes Edison style batteries.
Okay.
And there's now a new. Now I think there's a U.S. company called the Edison. That they revived it, the Edison Battery Company or something that makes them.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty expensive. That's the drawback right now. They shouldn't be that expensive. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're basically gouging people.
Yeah.
But they're just going to price themselves out of the future, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, you know, I want to find out what a patent. That patent was first announced. I heard it on the Space Force News last week.
Yeah.
They talked about there's a Navy patent for a 7 septillion watt generator.
Oh yeah.
Which is 7 with 24 zeros after it. That's how many watts.
Wow.
That's a lot of watts.
Mm-hmm. That is a lot of watts.
So there's a lot of disclosure going on right now, and people just have to dig into it. And the interesting thing about a lot of these Navy patents is they're open source, meaning anybody can go practice them legally.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. We need people going out there and manufacturing these things.
Yeah, people need to do that. We need to do that, and the reason that they're the thing I heard, the reason that they're letting all these secrets out is because someone in government a few years ago had a homebrew server in her home closet that wasn't of the government, it wasn't secured, and China somehow had access.
Like 80,000 emails on it.
Somehow,
and they were
China had complete access to it, and now they have all of our secrets. So the Navy's scrambling, letting all these patents out, making them public, so that we don't have to pay, royalties to China, because they're going to make all the stuff that we have in secret. So,
well, that was the last president our last president just said that, who he declassified 1,400 of 5,500 some patents that are declassified. He declassified something like 1,400, and these specifically the ones relating to human health, propulsion, and energy were the ones supposed to be just declassified right now. So, and we're starting to see those. I can give you the title for people that are interested. I can get some of the titles. One of them is called Compact Fusion Reactor. That's the title of it, by the Salvatore Pais, the U.S. Department of Navy. And there's one called Room Temperature Superconductor. That's another one that's fantastic. There's a HAWK system. I think it's called the HAWK system, which stands for the Hybrid Air Underwater Craft.
Yeah.
That's the one basically looks like it's a triangular shaped craft. They're capable of essentially anti-gravity. They tell you how the anti-gravity engine works in the patent. And so that's another one. There's a lot of different patents that are fantastic that have been released. I'm trying to think in case somebody wants to look those up.
I'm looking it up right now, and I'm gonna post something as soon as I get it here. Okay, so here is something.
I mean, in the patent on the compact fusion reactor, it says with a 1 megawatt input to this device, and this device is 9 inches square by 1 foot tall, so it can sit on top of your desk, right? So you can put 1 megawatt of power into that, and it put out 1 terawatt output.
Yeah, wow.
Now, tell me that isn't, space age.
So here is, this is physics.org, and Navy files for patent on room temperature superconductor. Here it is.
Yeah.
And it's got pictures.
Yeah, I can tell you. Lead zirconate titanate coated on basically a fiber optic cable, and then when they apply certain frequencies to that, it becomes a superconductor.
Awesome. I'll pretend like I understand that.
That zirconing tightening is actually easy to make.
Okay, I'll pretend like I understand it. Again,
Yeah,
I'm good at that.
it's a very easy, but it's high technology. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah. And
This is the Star Trek future stuff. This is the stuff that tells you they probably already have all these things in space. You know.
mm-hmm.
So, and that's why we've got Trump gave us disclosure if we can find that one executive order
Mm-hmm.
about the proceeds from all mining operations from the Moon, Mars, Ceres, and other parts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We got to find that. We got to find that because that's showing people that's actual disclosure by our last president
Yes.
that we're in space.
Yes. Well, that's interesting.
He, when he comes back, of course, eventually he's going to tell us.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Yes.
None.
Good night, Mud Rabbit. Thank you for stopping by. We really love seeing you here. Thanks for all your help. Well, Max, guess what time it is?
Time to cut it off. Is that what
Well, it's midnight. I might turn into a pumpkin. I don't know.
Oh no. You Renderzilla?
I don't know. I might.
Do you remember Renderzilla?
No, I don't remember that.
They used to have Hee-Haw.
Oh.
This guy on there says Renderzilla and the Six Ugly Sisters.
Okay.
He couldn't talk right.
All right.
Hilarious.
Okay. All right. Yeah. The one joke
Archie Campbell, was that Archie Campbell?
I don't know, but
I know.
the one joke I remember from Hee-Haw was one of the guys said, "I'm working on my second million." Oh yeah? Yeah, I missed my first million.
Of course, there's a classic. Where are you tonight?
Yeah.
Why did you leave me here all alone? I searched the world over and thought I found true love.
You made another and he was gone. Yep, that's classic. Yeah. Good old-fashioned entertainment, I tell you. Between laughing and hee-haw, they had everything covered there, didn't they? And then the Rowan Martin laugh-in was funny.
Right.
Was funny.
Right, there's all those things, Hollywood Squares, all those things.
Yeah.
You remember Fire Marshal Bill?
Oh yeah, yeah. Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good. Oh, whoa. I think we just figured out Max's true identity here, folks.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I can also do the penguin.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. That's pretty good. Any closing thoughts from you, Austin?
Oh, not really. It's getting late here. I really enjoyed this. Said some things I've been wanting
We
about
really
the secret space program.
You had some great stories to tell, so thank you so much for calling in, and it was nice to hear a voice to the name. Is always good. I've seen you in the chat, and now we've talked, so hopefully we can meet everybody in the chat this way. Be great.
Thanks a lot, Austin. It's nice to meet you.
Thanks, Austin.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. I hope you have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was nice.
Yeah, he seems to be really knowledgeable.
Yeah. I sing that often, no joke, Abby says. Oh, that's cool.
We need some other people to call in. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
hearing from other people and getting their perspective and
Mhm.
all the things they're into.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, you know.
It's Friday night right now. We're wrapping it up now, but we're on Monday nights, Wednesday nights, and Friday nights, right around 9 or 10, depending on how late Red Pill goes. He wasn't on today, so I got to go on a little early. But
And then you're on sometimes on Saturday or Sunday.
sometimes on the weekends, yes, sometimes on the weekends, and watch for that, folks, because sometimes I just got to get on, and then I'll just pop on, and then all of you awesome truth questers somehow find it, and we all have this wonderful get together. And
do you have a firm date? Do you have a firm date yet for Andrew?
Nope, not yet. He's still working on
Okay.
some of the very interesting things that we'll be bringing to all the listeners. So yeah, thank you, Nicoletta Trumpy Bear, for all of the super chats and stickers. It was really a lot of fun. And all of your interesting comments. You're going to have to call in sometime too, Nicoletta, because sounds like you have a lot of stuff to say. So we'd really love to hear from you. And thanks, Austin, for calling in. Thank you, Dark Brain. You rock. Abby, thank you to everyone who called in or who chatted today and who liked. We got 25 likes, so thank you so much. Keep sharing this out, even if it's over. Your friends might like to see it. And there's some interesting information brought forward today by both Maxwell Smart and Austin. So thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you next time. Keep looking up. Keep demanding disclosure. Keep your freedoms. And we'll see you next time. Peace in.
Bye-bye.